What is clearly a scam, but is so normalized people don't notice. Printer ink. Buy a laser printer. Expensive upfront. $100, $700, but pennies in the long run, compared to inkjet. Most come with scan, copy, fax features which come in handy in the work from home era. I did exactly this. Changed out from inkjet to a color laser. Pretty penny upfront. Long term cost has been maybe 1% the total cost of using an inkjet long term. I do not like saying never, but I will indicate that I am incredibly hesitant to any plans for a purchase of an inkjet for the foreseeable future. A monochrome laser is very cheap. Bought mine $4.90. Far better print quality than inkjet. The toner doesn't dry up from disuse, and faster. I just paid for the privilege of setting up my router. My cable company recently started trying to charge me for my router, which I own. I got a notice saying we noticed an error in billing and we will be charging you for the equipment rental starting in December. The frick you will. I have every receipt from every cable or phone transaction I've ever done for that exact reason. I paid outright for my router so I won't be renting their shooty equipment at $12 a month. Now they want to charge me for my own property. After receiving that notice I hopped right onto customer service to get it resolved, and they directed me to their loyalty department, because they could best handle it over there. I cut off the conversation and just cancelled my service. Cable companies are pure scum. Must be nice to have other providers to choose from. The town I live in, Comcast is the only option. The town that borders mine has an internet company that charges less than half what Comcast does for double the speed. 400 featuring away. It is beyond infuriating. Alexa, order 425 feet Ethernet cord. And a shotgun. Ticketmaster. Yes, basically scammers adding huge marks up, but making it impossible to use anyone else. Not to mention allowing mass purchasing bots to scoop up tickets only to offer a third-party market platform for those same scalpers to resell the tickets at increased prices to the fans actually going to the show. TM takes a cut twice. Often, the point isn't the not noticing, but the having a lack of better alternatives. What's worse is when the companies try to do right and we force them back into scamming. Stores like JCPenney sell $10 shirts $4.20 at a %50 discount. They also inflate the price of belts, wallets, and underwear, but then lower the price of pants. It all evens out, but the customer gets the satisfaction of getting a deal. Once they tried to get rid of that with a fair and square pricing strategy, but it almost bankrupted the company and it never fully recovered. People don't want to buy cheap stuff. They want to buy expensive stuff at a discount so they feel like they're getting a bargain. Frick. Spectrum cable and internet. Frick, I had to get that out. My friends and family are stuck with this company because there's no competition. Rent-to-own furniture and appliances. Worked in solar construction for a while where you would travel to the middle of nowhere to work on a site, so they gave us a housing fund to rent a place during the job. People would get the rent-to-own furniture and charge it to the housing money as a living expense. Company was cool with it and once it was paid off the worker got to keep it. Yeah, I lived in some company provided housing for a few months once and they furnished the place with rent-to-own stuff. So situations where rent-to-own actually makes sense to exist. They're just pretty niche and only represent a fraction of their business. My husband had knee surgery. People had suggested a recliner, but we knew so much better than them. His nerve block wore off in the middle of the night and I've never seen someone in such pain. While I tried to find a comfortable position for him in bed. First thing in the morning, I went to Rent-A-Center and said I needed a recliner. I didn't care what it looked like. I just needed one. They delivered it and carried it upstairs to my bedroom that afternoon. My husband lived in that recliner for a month. Then we called them back and they came to pick it up. Best decision we've ever made. Those registries that people pay money to name a star. I keep seeing advertisements on Facebook for companies that will give you official lord or leadership for like $50, based on giving you the title to a small parcel of land somewhere like Scotland. I googled one of them once, and the first result was a breakdown of why the company is fraudulent and doesn't actually have access to any land anywhere. Email Libertus. Glory to Sealand. My cat is now officially known as Lord Crispin the Tabby of Sealand. Given the history of that glorious state, I'm super proud to be serving my lord. I think that would make a great base to a story about some Joshmo who buys a star and inherits the problems from that star's inhabitants. They come all the way to Earth after looking up the International Star Registry and he has to deal with their centuries-old wars. I swear I've seen something like this before as a gag, but I can't remember where. Manufacturers refusing documentation to private repair enterprises and requiring you to get your products fixed by the dealer. Basically, the reason for the right to repair movement. Ah yes, I used to work with John Deere and they were terrible about it. Farmers are looking for older equipment because they don't have those software lockouts. Agreed, when the crop is coming in, it has to be harvested now, not 3 weeks from now. What John Deere wants: tractor brakes. Put it on a truck, ship it to the nearest repair facility, which may be hundreds of miles away, put it in the repair queue, wait until it's fixed, then truck it back to the farm, hundreds of miles away. In the meantime the crop has spoiled. What farmers want: tractor beaks. Pull out the diagnostic scanner, check the codes, repair it on the spot, go back to harvesting. Total time: less than a day. For a farming supply company, John Deere doesn't seem to care much about farmers. To add, it also depends if the part is on hand and waiting to get it. It could be a burnt coil to a complete drive assembly. A hydraulic manifold could have a 6-month lead time as well. I don't know if anyone remembers power balance bracelets from the early 2000s. A lot of celebrities and athletes advertised for them and they claimed to improve your balance and overall health. Well, being a rubber bracelet made in a factory, it was all nonsense, but they still sold millions of units before shutting down. A new company owns them now and you can still buy them though. They still have things like that. We live in a touristy city and when my in-laws came to visit, my Phil bought a balance bracelet from a street vendor. He said at dinner he could already feel a difference in the way he walked. I love him to death. But, SMH. The placebo effect works even when people know it's a placebo. Mayo, yeah, I remember those. Baseball players, specifically pitchers, used to wear several at a time when they were playing. Then one day everyone stopped. The whole gimmick was to have you stretch first so you would have a control to base things off of, then stretch again with the bracelet on and suddenly you can stretch more. But you frickin' stretched out your muscles the first time, so the second time you would obviously stretch further with or without the band. Funerals and everything to do with them. The funeral industry has insane pricing. Some of the funeral homes and vendors are even predatory, getting grieving families to pay upwards of tens of thousands of dollars, because that's what the deceased would have wanted. You didn't love your father at all, did you? Was the question that had me slam my fist down on the table. My dad wanted a cardboard box cremation and no memorial. He got a cardboard box cremation and no memorial, with zero upselling from a different cremation service. The state AG got a complaint about the first cremation service. That is some hot garbage. Make sure you go back and leave a Google review for them also if you haven't already done so. People sometimes forget that you can review anything. I am sure I have cost my old bedbuggy slumlords many potential tenants. Mobile game ads that show gameplay of a Call of Duty or Skyrim style game, but in reality are just a spin-off of Candy Crush. Don't forget those game ads that pretend to be puzzle games where you pull pins. Looking at you. Homescapes. Having to pay $100 plus for glasses. I think my last pair were $1,600. Granted my prescription is -26, but still. Kind of need them to function. Oh my god. That's impressively bad eyesight. Yep, and even with them on I'm at the legally blind threshold of 200. Also I have bilateral colobomas. Missing a piece of my iris. Retina. Had my retina detach in my right eye when I was 15. And I'm slowly developing cataracts. My eyes are fuan. Planned obsolescence, where products are deliberately designed to have a defect or worse performance shortly after the warranty has expired. No shoot. My car has a 60,000 mile warranty. 60,007 My transmission shat the bed. Chrysler is the only car company I do not even consider when buying a car. No car's transmission should go out at 60k, but that's typical stuff for them. Been making hot garbage for 40 years. Never will again. My first car was a 99 Pontiac Bonneville. Assuming based on color and smell, and lack of records, the transmission fluid had never been changed. At 201k I was advised to just leave the fluid alone. It was still running when I sold it at 279k. 1-2 shift was at max pressure, but it otherwise ran fine. And I have co-workers who will tell me Chrysler is still the better car. If I weren't a dumbass, I'd have put a couple grand in the Bonneville and still be driving it. If you tell me the truth, I won't get mad. Mom. As a parent, I try my best to temper my reaction if my kids tell me about something wrong they did rather than me finding out by myself. This is something my wife and I are constantly reminding our oldest of. Be honest about stuff, because we're typically not going to get mad that it happened, especially if it really was an accident. We get mad about the stuff he tries to hide by lying to us. It gets even more important as they approach teen years, when the stuff they do that they shouldn't is more dangerous or illegal. I told mine that if they were to come to me and tell me they were pregnant, they'd got themselves into drugs, they'd managed to develop a gambling addiction. More likely, if they found themselves completely pissed, drunk, and unable to get home, I might get mad. Hell, I probably would get mad, but after I've blown off some steam, I can try and help them. Even if it was their fault, I will still help them. Because their well-being is more important to me than their wrongdoings. You're doing great. It'll stand you in good stead later.